Now just starting off with a little intro. So we're going back to doing videos because part of what we want to do with these builds is, rather than just what you're doing, is kind of the intention behind what you're doing. And we want to go through kind of how you're going to approach certain things, and we're going to work with supersets a little bit, so going from one movement to the other. So we want to kind of demonstrate a lot of this so that we're making sure you guys are doing this right. Another major key that actually getting something from these builds, getting some strength, getting some muscle stimulus, building some muscle from these home workouts with just your body weight and a dumbbell is going to be the intensity you bring to it, and making sure you're taking things, where we say taking things to failure. Maxing out on the reps, AMRAP -1, those things we normally talk about, but actually really attacking everything. You're gonna make it want to burn, and going after these sets. If you just kind of treat these, do 10 reps, but you still had loads of reps in the tank, you're not gonna make any progress. So it's actually really every set, putting everything into it and taking it to failure. And it also doesn't really matter then if you've got a dumbbell that's a little bit too heavy and say you only get 5 reps, or a dumbbell that's a little bit too light and you get 20-25 reps. The only thing that matters is that you made it to failure and the muscle is completely fatigued, and therefore you're going to make progress regardless of what weight or how many reps you've done. So kicking things off, today is an upper body day, so we're starting with a max rep push-up. Now, full program movement is going to be feet on sofa and hands on the dumbbell. It's a really challenging position, so if you're good at your push-ups, this is where you want to be, and you're taking this to complete failure. Now, if you need to scale this, you could just take your feet off the sofa, or you could do your usual scales. Maybe your hand then comes off the dumbbell and then also you drop to your knees. You want to be getting a good amount of reps on this to really burn out the muscle. So we're looking for 10 plus reps. So maybe you do start in a more challenging position, but then drop set your way down like a mechanical drop set. So go from a full position to knees to give yourself at least 10 plus reps, because we're really trying to fatigue the muscle. From there, you're going to flip over and you're going to go into a floor press, two-handed floor press, lying on your back, pressing that dumbbell up. And again, you've just fatigued your chest and your pressing muscles, so you're then trying to flip over and continue to fatigue those with a lighter movement with your dumbbell. So take the push-ups to complete failure to make that dumbbell, even though it's a single dumbbell, feel heavy. If you do happen to have 2 dumbbells, then you could easily do this with 2 dumbbells instead of just the one to make it a little bit harder. Now, a couple of keys on this one is keeping movement throughout. So you're always keeping tension on the muscle and you're constantly moving. And going from the push-up is directly into the floor press, no resting for that. And during the floor press, you want to think about squeezing the dumbbell together with either hand. So almost more having your hands on either side of the dumbbell rather than underneath. And as you squeeze that together, you can really then get a good contraction in your chest. Next, we have an Arnold press with a dumbbell directly into an upright row on the same side. So you do a max reps on either, rest 30 seconds, and then do the same on the other side. Now, you want to match reps to either side. So if you have a weaker arm, start with that and make sure you're matching that on the weaker side. So that Arnold press, you're starting with that dumbbell palm facing you, and you're kind of tracking your body around as you press that dumbbell up overhead in a nice smooth rotation. Again, max reps, you're taking that pretty much to failure till you can't really press that anymore, till the muscle's completely fatigued out. And then you're gonna go directly into an upright row. Again, keeping everything controlled and smooth, but going until you feel like you've reached failure or you can't really bring that dumbbell very high anymore. Next, we're moving to biceps. Now, we're gonna do a single arm variation to start with. So we're gonna work one side at a time. We're also gonna place our hand under our armpit, under our arm to do that. So we've got a little bit of kind of a preacher curl style where we're kind of making sure that arm doesn't move, and that's gonna make that bicep work a little bit harder. Now, chances are the dumbbell you've got, this is gonna be heavy and challenging. So you're not expected to do loads of reps with this. This is more of like a strength, lower rep range. So work hard with what you've got and try and get, let's say, 5 plus reps out with this one. And we also want to try and match it arm to arm again. So making sure you start with the weaker arm, match it on the stronger arm. Now, if you can't lift the weight you're doing at all safely for a bicep curl, what you're going to do instead is you're going to do a dumbbell clean and then a slow eccentric down as you lower this. Same as before, these are going to be max reps. So if you're doing the program variation, then you're just going to go until failure. If you're going to do the eccentric one, you're going to go until you can't lower it down with a nice controlled 3 to 5 second tempo. Next, we're going to go for a two-handed bicep curl. So at this point, your biceps should be pretty tired. So we're kind of dropping that weight by going with either hand now and continuing to work for max rep sets with this. So taking those biceps to complete failure now. And then finishing out with another superset, but this time we're working on our triceps. So we're going from an overhead dumbbell tricep extension. So bringing that dumbbell as far as we can down behind our neck and then pressing it up. Focus really on here is the bottom range of motion, so as far down behind your neck as you can rather than the kind of extending the elbow. So kind of work through constant tension with that. I would stop a rep or two shy of failure. One, because you want to get it back over your head, and two, because then we're going into another tricep movement, the tricep dip. So we're going to put our hands on the sofa, and then if we want to make this harder, we can raise our feet on another object. And again, we're just going to failure with this, absolutely completely fatiguing the triceps. If you need to make this easier, feet on the floor, bring your feet closer towards your knees and just go to failure. You should be getting quite high reps with this, 15, 20 reps, something like this. And range of motion isn't necessarily super important here. It's just moving at a constant rate without any rest throughout.